All right, welcome back to another video from the Clark Addison Gaming Company. My name is Brian Hafferkamp. I am the designer and creator at Clark Addison. And in this video, I want to go over some of the changes that I've been making to the new Diamond Dynasty game. This is a GM career mode type game where you focus mostly on roster building, but there is a gameplay element, and it's one of the sort of three phases. There is the initially you'll create the teams and all the players, and then you'll play a regular season with those players, and then you'll go into what I call the financial or the wrap-up phase, where you sort of figure out how the team did financially, and then the last phase is going to be in the off season, and that sort of begins you into the loop. So the off season is, I think, the most important part of the game, but the other parts are going to play into the off season and what sort of decisions that you make. So let's go through some of the things that I've added just over the last couple of days. And this is partly in response to, there's at least one person playtesting the game and has given some feedback. The game at this point is in alpha stage, and it's getting ready to move on to being kind of a super alpha, where more and more people will get a chance to play it. But in fact, if you want to play this version of the game, I'd be happy to have your thoughts. You can email me at clarkandaddisongaming@gmail.com, clarkandaddisongaming@gmail.com, and let's just dive in and get to the different components. I'm hoping this is kind of a short video. First, this is the sheet for creating teams and players. It gives you a little rundown, step-by-step, how to do that. You're going to use 2d6 dice and an 11 to 66 roll. So just like you would for a game like APA. There's also an optional player generator that I put online in my GitHub repo that you can go to. Diamond Dynasty player generator and it's under my name. So what that allows you to do is just at the click of a button, you can get the first and last name of a totally randomized first and last name. You'll get the player's skill level, age, and his salary. And if he's a 4 or a 5 level player, you'll get how many stars. And the stars will be automatically built into the salary as well. So if it's a 4 skill level, he'll be a $5 player. So you can use that, and there's also a rookie button. And if you click on the rookies have a few different types of, they can only go up to level 3. So they have a little bit of a different system for the rookies. So if you're building out rookies for the draft, or you're drafting those onto your team, you can click that rookie button and then just take the names. The names are mostly westernized, but there's also, I believe, from Cuba and Mexico. So there are some Hispanic names in there as well. That's just drawn from I'm connecting into a random name generator API and just pulling those in. So you'll roll initially for the city and mascot. You can see that here. So basically you just roll the 2 die. Let's say you get a 13, it would be Iron Hill. And if you get a 42, then it would be the Iron Hill Huskies. And so that's sort of the easiest way to create a team. You do the same thing with first and last names. And again, these are limited to just what's here. You can go through and just pick people and put name combinations together if you want to. You can just go through these city names and just choose the ones you want. You don't have to randomly roll for them, but you can. And then this shows you how to assign player skill and assign salaries as well. We have the schedule. So we have a schedule for 4 teams, 6 teams, and 8 teams. I would suggest at the very beginning, you just start with the 4 teams. That way you kind of get into the rhythm of playing the game. But again, it's got a 6-week schedule, home and away. And basically, I would just go through each of the 4 teams and just the first one label A, second one B, third C, fourth D. And then you can match that up here along the way with your team name. You could also recreate the schedule if you wanted to with all of the teams, the actual names in your league. I have revamped the gameplay system. So things here look just a little bit differently. Now we're going to go off of a runs per game. This is sort of a baseline runs per game score, and I'll show you in the how to play the game. I'll show you how to go through that. And then there will be a final score, and this is going to come out more like a traditional baseball score. So the final score now takes into account the team overall skill level, the players, the star players, so it's your star power. How many stars does the team have? Is there a home field advantage? And then that's going to help you come to your runs per game. And then based on the pitcher who's pitching, then we're going to have, based on the pitcher who's pitching, we're going to have an adjustment to the team's runs per game. So it's sort of like an average runs per game for this skill level team with this star power. And then based off of the pitcher who's pitching, you're going to roll 2d6 dice, check a chart, and then you'll see the adjustment to the final score. It'll either add runs or subtract runs. And so that's kind of how you'll get the final score. So pitching will matter, and the quality of your pitcher will matter as well. And then you just record a win or a loss. Again, there's enough on here. I think you get down to right at one of these two for the championship if you have a 4-team league. So one sheet is fine for a 4-team league. We have all of our free agents. You can see everything on there, but you can see there's some blank spots down here. This is if players are released or cut. You can release them into the free agent pool. So you're going to roll for free agents. You can do this at the very beginning of the year in the off season. You can do this as the year goes on. You can do it right before the free agent period. Just there's a few options there. Your free agents will fill up as teams cut players, and I've built in some different types of mechanisms for cutting players and how you can do that. There's a minor league system now, so I'll just explain that a little bit. Also, there's going to be a contract. So each player is going to be given a 2-year contract at whatever salary they start at. So let's say you have player A and his skill level is 2, his age is 2, then his contract is going to be, I would put 1 of 2 or put 1 right here. And then I would put how much he makes on this side over here. So if his skill level is 2, he's going to make $2. And that's going to be his contract. So he has a 2-year contract for $2. He's age 2, so in the player development, he may go up to 3 or 4 or even 5. So if his skill level goes up, then the second year of his contract, he's still only being paid $2. So, but in the third year, if you have to re-sign him to a new contract, a new 2-year contract, then he'll need to be re-signed at whatever his skill level is. So that's, it's a way for teams to kind of put in an extra layer of, I guess, being like Moneyball, right? Being like the Oakland A's. So you have a player who gets better and he's on his sort of quote unquote rookie contract or his initial contract, and then he gets better. You're not paying him the same amount. The same goes for an older player, though. You may have signed a contract with him and he was skill level 4, but he may wind up at skill level 3, but you're paying him at skill level 4 prices. So it sort of cuts both ways, and it brings the cutting players and things like that into the game. Off-season progression. This hasn't changed too much. I have updated over here just to kind of match everything, but most of this is all basically the same. So you have your player aging. There's a modifier to this player development role. So during the player development phase, if he's in his 4th year, then you have to roll for retirement, which is here. A 1 or 2, the player retires immediately. A 3 to 6, he comes back for 1 more year for his 5th year. If a player is in his 5th year, he just has to retire after the season. But if he's a rookie, prime, veteran, or aging, you add these modifiers. So either +1, no modifier, -1 or -2 to this player development role. And then based off of what this says. Either he's going to gain skill points, no skill points will be added, or there'll be a regression, and so you'll have to subtract skill points. Whenever you create rookies, I told you there's a little different scale for creating rookies. That's here. I can see. Maybe I need to print that off again. I got to check that. That's twice I've had to correct that on here. So 1 to 3, the rookie is skill level 1. 4 to 5, you get a 2 level rookie. And if you roll a 6, you get a 3 level rookie. And those rookies are actually counted as future stars. On the back, I told you I modified how we play the game. So this is how to play a season game. So you're going to calculate each team's modified total, and this is going to be the runs per game. So you get all these, you check the runs chart, and then you mark down the runs per game. So you add all these things together. That's going to be your modified total here. And then based on the range, you're going to give the team this as your base runs per game. And then you go to your player's skill value, which is here, your pitcher. So you could be a skill level 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 plus. You roll 2d6 dice. You add the dice values for a 2 to 12 result, which you see here. And then you check that roll result against the pitcher's effect chart. So let's say it's a skill level 3 pitcher and an 8. So when you come here, you match those two up, and it's a 0. So the pitcher has no effect on that team's score. So if you're looking at the visiting team who's you're trying to figure out their final score, and this would be the home team, they would just wind up with whatever their baseline runs per game is. It's most likely going to be 3, 4, or 5. That's sort of where most teams fall within. And you do this for both teams. So now you're looking at the home team, you want to go to the visiting team's pitcher, and then figure this all out. Do the 2 to 12 roll with him, find his pitcher skill, match those up. You can see that if you have a 5 plus pitcher and you roll a 2, that will subtract 5 from that base runs per game, which could lead to a shutout. Most likely is going to lead to a shutout unless the team is really good. So if they're in the 50s, which is possible, especially with upgrades and things like that, then you would be able to shut out definitely a team that's a 3 minus 5. That's going to take you down to 0. So that would be a shutout. So that's how that works. And I'll be playing out. I'll try to play out a whole season when I have a little bit more time. Don't have a lot of time this morning. This is our team owners and upgrades section. This is a totally optional thing that you can play. I thought, well, you could either put a hard salary cap, which is fine to do if you want to do that, and you just say every team is capped at 28 or something like that for their money. So that means that everybody has to kind of finagle their team to get under that 28 or apply some sort of penalty. I thought, what if it would be fun to have different owners assigned to the different teams, and then each team is sort of playing its own game, so to speak, in order to match the owner. And so the owner creates a budget, and there are different, this guy here is star focused, so his budget is a little bit higher because stars obviously are going to cost more. And there's a budget for upgrades, so your upgrades can exceed this, whether it's a permanent or a season upgrade. And then you have end of season goals. So for this guy, there's a plus $3 at the end of the year if the team has 3 or more star players during the season. This one, if the team has 4 or more players who are age 1 or age 2 by the end of the season, you get a $1 bump. So, but you can see he's super budget conscious, focuses on rookies and developing young players. And so this is only possible really with the contract system that I talked about. So if you have a budget conscious owner, then you're going to need to really do some off-season planning to try to make sure that you keep your budget down below 18, which is going to be really difficult. You're going to have a lot of 1s and 2s. You can have a star player, but you're going to have to get him on the cheap. And whenever he goes up to his star level, and you got to pay him, you're just going to have to cut him, and then another team can pick him up. So that one's going to be a tough one, and these need to be adjusted over time. They might be a little bit low. We have team upgrades here. So you have permanent upgrades, and then you have season upgrades. These have to be purchased each season, and they typically have a lower payoff, but these cost more and typically have a greater payoff. So see here, you can see the stadium upgrade is a +1 to all home game rolls. I am going to have to change some of these because I'd like to put in stadium upgrades, which the small stadium is where everybody starts. The small concession is where everybody starts. So it's free, but it does cost you $2 per season, which is what we've been doing already. The concessions are free and they cost $2 per season. Your revenue is $8 per home win. Your revenue here is $2 per home win. So this becomes a little bit different than just your gate revenue, which is $8 per win. So I'll show you that as well. There's like specific home win revenue that can be had. But you can upgrade to a medium for a one-time price of $15, and it's going to cost you $5 per year to run a medium stadium, but you get $10 per home win. And in a 6-week schedule, that's only going to be 3, right? So it's a little bit limited in a 6-game schedule. So, that's how it is. Same thing for concession upgrades. So you pay one time, and then there's a cost associated with it, and here for a large concession. So trying to work in some of those things. We'll have to play with those actually in a season and see how those work out. Might need to be some adjustments made there. I've codified the season yearbook. Previously, they looked like this somewhere. I don't know if I have one. I think maybe I took it upstairs. Oh, here it is. So previously it looked like this, and I was just kind of writing it out, where you have each season, and then you have your Hall of Famers, you have your future stars. So this is the first 4 seasons of the initial playthrough. I played 5 seasons total, so feel like I gave the game a real good ride, But I've codified that, so you'll have your standings here all the way up to 8 teams. You'll have your financials all the way up to 8 teams. You'll have your Hall of Famers. That's anybody who's retired after 5 seasons with 2 stars. So I went back and forth on that because some players can retire at 4 seasons. I decided the Hall of Fame should be anybody who made it all 5 seasons and they still have 2 stars at the end. Those are going to be your Hall of Famers. And then your level 3 rookies represent your future stars. So that's just a way to kind of keep track of each season as you go along. All right, these are the new player cards, or team cards, sorry. You can see I've got 2. Everything up here looks the same, except we have our new contract system in place. And then now I've added a minor league system. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minor league players that you can add into the game. These are guys who can be called up to the big league roster. They can be developed just like any other rookies. And then I have to take this contract and put it in here. But their totals are going to count against your big league club. But because most of them are going to be 1, 2, or 3, your minor league totals are going to be quite a bit less than your major league salaries. So you can utilize these players. You can cut them at will anytime you want to, and then just go out and pick up a new rookie, which is basically just rolling and kind of drafting a new rookie. During the draft season, you'll have to fill any blank spots that you have in your team. And then if you cut a player up here, you can either fill him with a free agent or you can bring up a rookie. If you have a rookie who's ready and you want to move them into the major league club, and let's say you have somebody you want to cut, you can cut them and know that you're going to bring up a rookie, like a September call-up kind of thing. So that's on one side, and then we have our upgrades. If you have any upgrades, you can mark those down here. And then you can just write down shorthand, it's +3 to this or whatever, just to keep track of that. On the back side, we have a little bit more in our income. So previous season gains, So this is your income section and your expenses. We have the owner goal rewards. Remember, there's a reward if you meet the owner's goals. The team upgrade bonus, a season upgrade bonus. So if you choose to upgrade or buy an upgrade, this is where you would put that bonus. If you win the championship or you're in the championship game, you're going to get some kind of championship bonus. There's a star player bonus, so you get $2 per player. Stadium revenue and concessions revenue, we talked about that. If you want to play with stadium and concessions revenue. You have your team wins and your gate revenue, which is going to be $8 per win, just like it has been. And then you add all that up and it becomes your total income. You have your losses, basically the reverse here. Your losses, the team upgrade and season upgrade cost. So whatever it costs you to upgrade. The costs yearly for your stadium and concessions. You have your team player salaries, your minor league salaries. So this is your major league. I guess I should put that major league salaries. And then that all equals your total expenses. Then you do income minus expenses, and that's going to get you your net income. So again, I haven't played with all this. I'm just showing you, but this is how it's going to go. And so you could literally cut this out and have 4 separate team cards, or you can keep it all together like this. And then the final piece is going to be a little bit more fleshed out game guide. So it does kind of take you from the beginning of how to create teams all the way through the different phases. So you can see there's an explanation of how to do extra innings, the playoffs and championship. There's a little bit of an explanation of every little part that you're supposed to do. Excuse me. And then it goes through the income and expenses, your net cash flow and what that means. And then it goes through the off season and just walks you through all the different parts of the off season here. I'll have to update that. But just what everything is, permanent upgrades, seasonal upgrades, what are off season events, what to do with retirements, player development, and how do you do the player development stage. It requires looking at their aging and then actually doing the player development role. And then I did address player cuts a little bit, but I get back to that some a little bit later. So, and then free agency, what do you do there? And then just a little bit about why I made the game. And then the final page was just some notes that are going to be initially incorporated into the game, which it talks about the farm system, drafting, and then minor league development. So that's all your farm system, minor league stuff. Contracts, how they work. Here's an example. So you can see player A in year 1. He's a 2 level skill. He's a 2 age. His contract year is 1 out of 2. And then his contract cost is $2. But let's say in year 2, after player development, he gains 2 skill, 1 age, and now he's in year 2 of the contract, but he still costs only $2 because that's his initial contract that he signed. But in year 3, he stays at skill level 4. He moves up to age 4. Now he's in year 1 of the contract, and now he costs $5 because 4 is a 1-star player. So now you get the $4, so $1 for every skill point, plus $1 for the star. So for every star that the player gets, if he's 5 or more on his skill level, he gets 2 stars. So then you would add 2 to whatever his skill level is. And then you can see in year 4, he goes through player development. He doesn't retire, and he comes back for his last year. He actually goes down to skill level 3. He's age 5, so his very last season. He's in his second contract, and that's going to be the end of the contract. But he still costs $5 because this was the initial contract here. So it's possible you're only getting 3 skill total for $5, and he's no longer a star. So you basically lost 2, but you're paying for that star, but he's not playing like a star. So now you got to make some decisions on whether he's going to be cut and released, and then you'll have to replace him with someone else. So maybe you have a better player in the farm system who's cheaper. You can do that, but you are going to be responsible for paying. If you cut him in year 2, you're responsible for paying $5 even though he's not going to be on the team. These are all guaranteed contracts. If you cut him in year 1, you owe him the year 1 and the year 2 salary. So just got to think about, is that worth it to save that money in the long run? Or is it worth it to just keep the player there and hope, you can just wait out the contract? So it talks about that a little bit. And then releasing and cutting players, and what does that mean? This is where I talk about how you have to pay after you cut them. So just what I just explained. And then this talks about signing minor league players and free agents and stuff like that. So that is the game guide. All right, so you can see a lot of work has gone into this over the last week. And so this is called Diamond Dynasty. It's a career mode baseball game for the tabletop. And one of the interesting, tricky things is how many things you need to track everything. So it's a little bit different than a regular baseball game where you need to track stats and all that kind of stuff. You need some paperwork for this one. So we'll figure out best how to do this, whether the best delivery is PDF or whether it's in maybe a spiral bound book or something like that, where it'd be a physical product with printable sheets that you can print out some of these things for the season. So we'll see how that works. Maybe both. We'll have to explore those things. But the baseball game is on its way again. If you want to try it out, you can email me at clarkaddisongaming@gmail.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Play a few seasons, play one season, and I got one guy who's going into season 2, and he's giving me some thoughts already. So that's really good. And between my thoughts and your thoughts, we can make this into a pretty solid GM career mode game. All right, I think that's it from here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.